Hi darlings, I'm Anna and in today's video we are crocheting a super easy mesh cardigan, perfect for layering on colder days or throwing over your bikini in summer. It's light, breathable and beginner friendly, so even if you have never made a wearable piece before, don't worry, I'll guide you through every step. So grab your yarn and let's get started. Let's go over the materials first. So of course you will need some yarn. This one was thrifted and it's not a specific brand, but it's lightweight and it's kind of the same size as Drops Saffron. You will need a hook. I am using a 3.5mm hook, but you can use the recommended size. But personally, I would choose a hook bigger than the yarn so your project turns out looser. You will need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to weave in the ends later. Let's go over the logistics first. We will be making 3 panels, one back panel, which is going to be just a big rectangle, and then 2 front panels, which will be connected to one of the sides of the back panel. And we will make 2 identical panels, which is a little less than half of the back panel. So here is where your neck is going, and we will be connecting the panels here and here. You have to make sure that your back panel is wide enough. Your shoulder will stop somewhere here, and the rest will be the arm part. We will start with the back panel and we need to chain this length, which depends on you and your preferences. We will start by making a slip knot. So hold your yarn like this, insert your index finger, point it upwards, insert your thumb into the same loop and grab the yarn that is below the other one, so this one, and just tighten it. This is how you make a slip knot. Pull the loop on your hook and just tighten it some more. This is how I hold my yarn, but you can hold it any way you'd like. And we will start chaining the length of the back panel. To chain, yarn over and pull through. This is one chain. Again, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. And just repeat this process until you get the length that you want for your back panel. So this length, and make sure you have an even number of chains. So just keep chaining until you reach the desired length. Once you created a chain long enough to cover both your shoulders and then still have some space left to create the short sleeves for the cardigan, then we can start working on rows. I already told you to have an even number of chains so we can measure the front panels easier, but also make sure that the number of chains is divisible by 3 because we will be making 1 triple crochet into every 3rd stitch and we need to finish on the last one. So your number of chains should be divisible by 3. I have 126 chains, which is both an even number and divisible by 3. Now we'll start working on our first row. First, we are going to chain 2 more, which counts as our first double crochet. And then, because we are going to skip the next 2 chains, we need to add 2 more stitches or 2 more chains that mirror the 2 that we are going to skip. So now we have the 2 chains that mirror the 2 that we are going to skip, and we have 2 chains that represent our double crochet. So in other words, we are going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chains, and we are going to work our first double crochet into the 7th stitch or chain. To do a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain, into the 7th chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook now. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loop. And we formed our first corner. And now again, chain 2. We are going to skip the next 2 chains down here and add another double crochet into the 3rd chain. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. Again, you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops. Again, chain 2. And something I would like to add, in case you want your stitches to be taller, well, first of all, you can do treble crochets instead of double crochets, but you can simply do double crochets. So yarn over, skip 2, insert your hook, and when you first yarn over, pull through, you pull your loop just a bit higher, and then yarn over the first 2 and yarn over the second 2, and your stitch instantly becomes taller. So again, chain 2, don't forget to chain 2 between your stitches, yarn over, skip 2, insert your hook into the next 3rd chain, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over the first 2, yarn over the second 2, and again chain 2, yarn over, skip 2, into the 3rd, do another double crochet. Chain 2, and you will repeat this exact same pattern, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, chain 2, until you reach the end of your chain. And if you've done everything correctly, you should have 3 chains left. So yarn over and into the last chain, which is this here, don't miss it. Insert your hook and do your last double crochet stitch. And we are done with our first row. Let's start row 2 together. So we finished with a double crochet and we are going to chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet of row 2. And then we can turn our work and we will make our way back. So again, we are going to chain 2 for the skip, and then yarn over and insert your first double crochet on top of your already existing double crochet of your previous row. So yarn over and insert your hook underneath this V shape, which is our first stitch. You can just insert your hook underneath this V-shaped thing here, which is the top of our double crochet. And then repeat the same process, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, just as before, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops. Chain 2, yarn over, find your next stitch, this V-shaped thing here, insert your hook and do another double crochet. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops, and chain 2. Yarn over, find your next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through the first 2 and the second 2 loops, chain 2. I will leave you to finish row 2 by yourself. You just have to repeat the same exact process. When we get to the end, you will notice that you don't have a double crochet at the end, you just have this big hole. But if you think back, we chained 2 to mirror the first 2 chains that were skipped, and also chained 2, which counted as our first double crochet. So now chain 2, yarn over, and then skip 2 chains. If you turn, you can see better the 2 chains. This is 1 and this is 2. And into the third chain, which is this one, we are going to place our hook and place our last double crochet on top of this chain here. So you should have 2 chains which were skipped and 2 chains which counted as our double crochet, and on top of the 4th chain you place your double crochet. And this was row 2. And starting from here, you are just going to repeat row 2 until you reach your desired height, which means now you can chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet, and then chain 2 more, which counts as the mirror of these 2 chains skipped. Turn your work, and we are going to start working backwards, placing 1 double crochet on top of each double crochet from the previous row, and then chaining 2 in between the 2 double crochets. For extra guidance, you can always just watch back row 2. That is the row that you will be repeating over and over again. For reference, I ended up doing 44 rows of this, but I did an oversized, huge cardigan, and you don't have to do that. You can also make just a cropped version of a cardigan. So this is all personal preference, and you can customize it however you'd like. Just keep repeating the same exact row until you reach your desired height. And I'll see you when you are done. I am back, and here is what I've been doing. So I finished my 44th row. And when you are also done, you can chain 1 and then cut the yarn and pull through. And the back panel is finally done. Before we start the front panels, we need to do some math. So if you remember, I told you to write down the exact number of chains in your foundation chain. For me, this number was 126. Now, because we only did 1 double crochet into every 3rd stitch, we have to divide this number by 3. You also divide your own number by 3. For me, this is 42, which means I skipped 1, I skipped 2, and into the 3rd stitch I placed a double crochet. And I have 42 double crochets in total. Now, if we divide this number by 2, because we are doing 2 half panels of the back panel, we divide this number by 2, we get a number which for me is 21, which shows us the size of the front panel. So we will have 21 double crochets in 1 row. As the last thing, we have to consider that we have a neck, of course. So we will remove 1 group of 2 skips and 1 double crochet on both panels. So we will have altogether a space of 6 stitches for our neck, which is fine because the rest of the cardigan can go around our neck. So -1 is 20 for me. Now this is the number of double crochets, don't forget. So if we multiply this by 3, 1, 2, 3, I personally get 60, but you probably get another number. And this shows how much we need to chain in our foundation chain for one of our front panels. If we chain 60 in one panel and 60 in the next panel, we have 6 stitches for our neck. Altogether, that should equal the number that we started with, which for me is exactly 126. I'm sorry for this part, but I wanted you to really understand the logic behind our cardigan. But now that we have our number, we can start working on the front panels. So grab your yarn, make a slip knot, and chain the number that you got here. I will be chaining 60. Count your stitches to make sure that you have the exact number that you should have. And then we will do the same exact process that we did with the back panel. So first, we are going to add 2 more chains, which count as our first double crochet, and then 2 more chains that mirror the 2 stitches or chains that we are going to skip. Yarn over, skip 2, another 2, and another 2. And into the 7th stitch, we are going to place our first double crochet. Pull up the loop high and yarn over, pull through. And we have our first double crochet. Chain 2, yarn over, skip 2, insert your hook into the next chain, pull the loop tall, and finish your double crochet. Chain 2, and then you will repeat. You will continue doing this until you reach the end, and then, just as you did before, repeat row 2 and all the other rows afterwards. By now, I think you got the hang of it, so it should be easy for you to just keep going and repeating the same rows. I did 44 rows for the back panel, and I need to do the exact number of rows for the front panels as well. So stop the video and just keep working. I am back. I will add my last double crochet on top of the improvised double crochet, so onto the 4th stitch, chain 1, and now don't cut your yarn too short because we will need to connect the front panel with the back panel later on, so you will need a longer thread or a longer piece of yarn to connect the two. So don't cut it too short, leave a long tail, and then cut the yarn. And you don't even have to pull through just yet. Once you finished one front panel, you can go ahead and make your second one. Don't forget to use the same exact number of chains for the foundation chain and make the same exact amount of rows as you did for this one. And come back so we can assemble the whole cardigan. I'm back and I don't really know how to show you what's next, but we are going to assemble the 2 front panels with the back panel. I already did one, so I can show you how it will look like. Can you see this zigzag? I actually don't know if this has a name or if it's a method that people use. Probably is. But this is how we are going to connect the two panels. I thought this would be a nicer way than just sewing the two panels together. That would be much more noticeable in my opinion. So this is what we will be doing today. I finished one, but I still have one to go, and we will do that together. First, place your back panel down and then put your front panel on top of it, like this. As you remember, we agreed to leave a long tail on the front panel, and also we didn't pull through. We pulled up a tall loop. So we will continue working with this yarn. We finished with a double crochet, and now we are going to chain 2, and with this exact same thread you are going to look for the corner on your other panel. Now here is where my tail end is. I already weaved this in, you don't have to do that now. We will do it together later. And find the corner stitch. I have a double crochet here, but if you have chains, then count 4 chains, and on top of the 4th chain, do a single crochet. To do a single crochet, insert your hook into the chain or stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. And then chain 2. And then find the next double crochet on the front panel. It's here. Go under it and do another single crochet. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Again, chain 2. Go back to the back panel. Find the next stitch. We worked here last time. Now we are going to place 1 single crochet into the next one, so here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Chain 2. Go back to the front panel. We worked in this double crochet last time, so this time we are going to work into the next one. Place your hook inside, single crochet here, chain 2. Again, go back to the back panel. Find the next stitch and place your single crochet in here. Chain 2 and again switch. We worked into here last time, so now we are going to move on to the next stitch and place a single crochet right here. Chain 2. We are going to repeat the same exact process, single crochet, chain 2 and single crochet on the other panel until we reach the end of the front panel. Don't worry, they will line up and they will connect right where they should be. So I already have 1 front panel attached. This is the last double crochet. Probably we will leave these 2 alone, and this will probably connect somewhere here. I mean, it should connect somewhere here. So let's keep going. You can stop the video and come back when you reach the end of the front panel. I will show you how you can fasten off. I am slowly finishing up assembling the second front panel with the back panel. I am now doing the last single crochet in the back panel and finishing off with a single crochet on top of the 4th chain right here. And then I'm going to chain 1 and cut the yarn. Pull through. And I am done with both panels. Now you still have to attach one. I just want to show you how it's going to look like. As you can see, we finished on top of this double crochet here and on top of this double crochet here, and we have 2 double crochets left in the middle. So the front panels go like this around your neck. You can go ahead and attach your second front panel, and then when you come back we will attach the sides as well. To decide where to attach the sides, try the piece on so you can see exactly where you'd like the seam to start. Once you have an idea of how big you want the armhole to be, mark the spot with a stitch marker and make sure to place the marker in the same stitch on both sides so they are symmetrical. The sun came out, but I hope you still see what I'm doing. So this is where we connected the 2 panels. This is the zigzag part. And from here I counted 12 rows down, which for me is a good amount of space for my hand. But you can leave more or you can leave less. That depends on you. Once you choose the location where you start to connect the 2 panels, you can grab a piece of yarn, a long piece of yarn again. I marked with a stitch marker where I want to start. So I will attach the yarn to the panel that is closer to me. It doesn't really matter at this point where you are connecting the yarn to. I just pull the yarn through, and now I will chain 2, and we will be repeating the same process that we did here, but this time we will go in these stitches on the side. So as you can see, we have a double crochet on one side, for example now. But later here we have the chain, here we have the chains. So you can just go where you inserted your double crochet to. But I will show you. So chain 2 and just go back and forth between the sides and between the stitches on the sides of the double crochets. So here I can see a stitch, so I go into it, do a single crochet, chain 2, and then I go back to the other side. This is where I worked last time. So now I will attach my yarn here, and you can clearly see the hole. So I'm just gonna put my single crochet right there. Again, chain 2, find a double crochet stitch here. You can just go in the hole on the side and do a single crochet. Again, chain 2 and go back. Again, find the hole where you can go into, like here for example. Some stitches might be tighter than the others. That's fine. Do a single crochet and then chain 2 and go back, and just repeat this process until you reach either the end, if you want to go all the way down, or if you want to leave a little space like me, you are more than welcome to stop before you reach the end. So you can just repeat the same process until you reach a point, and you can fasten off the same way as we did at the top. And when you're done, come back and I'll show you how you can weave in the ends, because that is the last part that we have to do, and that's the only thing that is remaining. Okay, I'm done attaching the panels on the top and on the sides as well. So now we can finally weave in the ends. I will show you, for example, here how you can do that, and you can repeat the same process on every loose end. So we are going to grab our darning needle and we are going to put the yarn through. And now on the inside part, you can simply go back and forth around a few stitches above and around the threads and yarns. So you can do it strategically. I am very random when weaving in the ends. I just go a few stitches this way and a few stitches backwards, and I just secure my tails. Like this. You can repeat this process a few times, and when you're done, you can, I think I'm already done, you can cut the end, and that's it. And that's it, your new mesh cardigan is ready. If you're new here, I write crochet patterns, you can find them linked in the description, and I create tutorials for the easier ones, so even the complete beginners can feel included. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like and please subscribe because more tutorials are in the works. Okay, bye!